Hello folks, welcome back to yet another exciting edition of Straight Talk with Obert Gutu on YouTube. This Friday we want to talk about the issue of racism. Why I've decided to tackle this topic today is because I think racism has always been an issue that is in the melting pot, especially when you look at racism from the context of colonialism, especially relating to those countries, and not only Africa but also in other parts of the world like South America and Southeast Asia, including Australasia, that were colonized by major European colonial powers or former colonial powers, such as Great Britain, Spain, Portugal, and France. Racism is still an issue in this day because there are very concerted efforts, I think globally. Of late, we have been watching and hearing about this movement called the hashtag Black Lives Matter, which basically, wants to portray the dark side of the sad part of racial tensions, of how racism continues to adversely affect the lives of people of color, particularly in the developing world. What exactly is racism? Is it only white people who can be racist? Can black people also be racist? And I think these are the issues that we should try to unpack, to say how can we eliminate racism from all facets of our lives, our political lives, our economic lives, our religious lives, our socio-economic lives, our cultural lives, and even our sporting lives. Why I'm talking of sporting lives, I'm sure you have been also following stories of how major sporting personalities in the world, global sporting superstars, have come out very strongly on issues of racism. I'm sure we've heard the role that is being played or has been played by the motor racing world champion Lewis Hamilton. We have also heard about the pronouncement and statements from global basketball superstars like LeBron James, who plays for the Los Angeles Lakers, and various other sporting personalities, Marcus Rashford of Manchester United, Raheem Sterling of Manchester City. We have heard their pronouncements as they try to propagate the kick racism out of sport movement. How can we handle racism? I believe that from my own perspective, the starting point is for all of us to agree that the scourge of racism is there. In other words, there is no way we should keep on burying our heads in the sand and pretending that there is nothing called racism, or rather that racism is such a small, insignificant issue that is not even worthy of debate. Because I believe that racism is a ticking time bomb. It might even lead to the explosion of another war, a global war, a world war of sorts, because racial tensions are very rife. And if these issues are not addressed holistically and openly and frankly, we run the risk of pretending that everything is fine, that there is no problem to worry about, whilst the problem is festering within our communities. And I believe that the starting point is for all racial groups, people of all different racial configurations, black, white, mixed blood, Indian, Persian, whatever, Hispanic, to then want to come out and say, look, we are a people together. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what skin color you have. As long as you are a human being, we are all born equal. That should be the starting point, to bring unanimity on that concept of equality, cutting across the racial divide. The moment we do that, the moment we also even be able to teach our children to say, don't worry about the color of the person next to you. That person is a human being like you and deserves as much respect as you. I think that will make a world a better place for all of us, a better place for all its inhabitants to live in. Because the danger now is, if we keep on underplaying the adverse role of racism in our lives, we will just be passing these racial stereotypes and racial prejudices from one generation to the other. In other words, we will then be propagating racial prejudices in perpetuity. And that has devastating consequences to humanity, to humankind. Because where there's no racial tolerance, you find that that will also spill over into the political domain. You are going to have political instability. You have to have social instability, because there will be a lot of inequalities that will be profiled along the lines of which race do you belong to. You have situations where even neighborhoods are classified to say, oh, that's a black neighborhood, that's a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood, that's a predominantly white neighborhood. All that is what I call racial profiling. And the moment that we continue to perpetuate those prejudices, how can we then achieve global peace? So my parting shot, ladies and gentlemen, folks, is that let us all of us try to address this issue of racism boldly. Let us look the beast of racism straight in the face and deal with it decisively once and for all. And say no to all forms of racism anywhere and everywhere. Well, folks, there we have it for today. Thank you for taking your time to listen and watch this short video on the issue or the topic of racism. My name is Obert Gutu. I am the senior and founding partner of Gutu and Chikowero Attorneys at Law, a law firm headquartered in Harare, the capital city of Zimbabwe in Southern Africa. I am also the former Deputy Minister of Justice and Legal Affairs in Zimbabwe. You may want to subscribe to my YouTube channel after watching this short video. On Twitter, my hashtag is @GutuObert. Instagram, Obert Gutu. LinkedIn, Obert Gutu. Well, folks, there you have it. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay peacefully with your families, with your neighbors, regardless of their racial composition. Work hard for yourself, work hard for your families, work hard for your communities, work hard for your continent, work hard indeed for the entire humanity. Salam, shukra, asante sana.